great state of Illinois, Southern Illinois. What's the district?
13th District.
13th District. You are pop in from time to time, say hi, so thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I always enjoy it.
You got it. Let's talk about heroin, because heroin's a big issue. It's affecting everyone. We're in the middle of a heroin epidemic here. Is there anything the feds can do, you can do, to sort of help solve the problem?
You know, we have passed 18 bills regarding opioids and heroin. Who would have thought? You know, growing up, the only people who use heroin were in back alleys, or they were rock stars. You know, it's not just Axl Rose anymore.
You never heard of it.
No.
Never, ever heard of it.
No, and when you did, you're like, ooh, who's going to do that? Mm-hmm. But now, because heroin's become the cheaper alternative to pills, to Vicodin, to Percocet, and other opioids, many people that we wouldn't expect are using it. Mm-hmm. We had 4 deaths in my home county in one coroner's report because of heroin. So what we've done in Washington, we've had to do some simple things like give Good Samaritan protections to law enforcement officials for administering Narcan to get somebody out of an overdose situation. Mm-hmm. We had to actually create programs that would allow for medical training for babies that are born addicted. Mm-hmm. So those types of issues we're working on, along with partnering with law enforcement too.
What about what's the benefit of a law enforcement officer giving Narcan to a heroin addict, keeping them alive, and then saying, have a nice day, I'll see you tomorrow night when you overdose as well? Is that the right way to solve the problem?
Well, I think we should always err on saving that life. And you hope that that's the moment that addict realizes that he or she needs help. And, you know, there are failures with addicts. You see different TV specials because heroin's become part of the presidential race now, where addicts are getting Narcan and then all of a sudden going back and dying of an overdose.
Right.
But there are those success stories, too, of addicts being able to kick their habit, and we've got to focus on them. A
cynic would say that these pharmaceutical companies are so powerful that they'll keep the prescription drugs available and out there. Is there anything, federal tracking for some of these doctor shopping people or anything like that? Anything they can do to sort of curtail the explosion of doctors prescribing these drugs?
Yeah, and I think we're on our way to doing that, which unfortunately the result has been to put more people out on the street getting heroin because it's become harder to access the pharmaceuticals. Not long ago, doctors would write pain pills. I remember going in for a simple surgery and they gave me Vicodin just in case I needed it. Well, I didn't. And then you had the doctor shopping. My wife used to run an emergency department. People would come drive by to shop for the doctors, and they would call them frequent flyers. I'm not violating any HIPAA rules here.
Right.
But what we in the federal government have done is try and crack down on those prescriptions, and the end result has been heroin increase. So now we have to go work the intricacies of things like, Medicaid formularies. They ought to encourage non-opioid pain treatment rather than opioids. But right now, certain formularies, like in Illinois, they don't include topical pain gel. Yeah. And instead, the doctor's only able to write an opioid prescription. That has to change.
How about the law where they say that rehab facilities only are allowed to use so much in terms of Medicaid money? Or what's that ridiculous? Where they put a limit on how many times you can get help or something along that? I mean, what's that story?
Yeah, I'm not aware of the details you're talking about, but we've got to change the focus in this country to help the addicts get the help they need rather than just throwing them in jail. I mean, I've said many a times, I'm for criminal justice reform, and we ought to stop sending people with petty drug crimes to jail longer than Jared, the Subway guy who's a pedophile.
Right.
It's wrong.
Speaking of that, what are your thoughts as you sit and watch this bathroom controversy?
Oh, it is such a distraction. I cannot understand how we are $19 trillion in debt. We've got ISIS terrorists chopping the heads off of innocent civilians. We've got disasters in foreign policy. And this White House wants to talk about where somebody can go to the bathroom? Seriously?
Well, is it the White House or is it everybody? I mean, it seems like you need two to tango in this.
Very much so. And it is such a distraction. Look, I remember being asked, when the president announced his first transgendered bathroom, someone said, well, what do you think about that? I said, well, I have 2.5 of those in my house. They're called bathrooms. Anybody can use them. Just go.
So do you think it's a waste of time, them talking about it, or there is a need to have these bathrooms that are designated?
It is a complete waste of time.
Though
I think it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying that there are students who are saying, look, I get beat up when I go to the boys' room, and I get beat up when I go to the girls' room. So, and then there are other ones who are calling the show saying, I don't want my daughter going to the bathroom with a guy. So as much as I agree with you, it's a waste of time, there are people out there who are being affected by this.
They're regardless of whether a student is LGBT or not, there are still problems with bullying in the bathrooms at schools. And the schools can make a choice to help that student regardless of who they are. And it doesn't need to be an issue in the presidential race. The school can adjust and adapt with that.
We've got 1 minute. Congressman Rodney Davis of Southern Illinois. You were telling us a great story off the air. You're working on drone legislation.
I am. We're trying to create a micro drone category. I never thought I'd go to Congress and talk about drones. But people think that they're these silver militarized vehicles. Really, they're hobby aircraft. And the FAA has control over them now. And we want to create a category, a light drone category, to where a kid, if they want to make some extra money, can put a GoPro on a hobby aircraft and go film their neighbor's yard for an extra $10 to $20. Same way they do if they take my riding lawnmower and mow the lawn. IDOT doesn't ask me to put a license on that, but
Right.
the FAA would.
Yeah, interesting stuff. You're always welcome here, sir. Have a good day. Thanks for checking in.
Thanks for having me, both of you.
7:56 here, Big 550 KTRS.
I'm Dr. Dan